What is good, you guys? Welcome back to the airport. Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what the playoff rotation for the Miami Heat will look like. Right now, we're the number 1 seed. We did not make any moves during the trade deadline, but we do have some reinforcements coming very soon. So we're gonna have to talk about how the rotation is going to look like come playoff time. We have a game tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. Tyler Hero is out. Jimmy Butler is questionable. Caleb Martin is out. Obviously, Keith and Oladipo are still out. So we'll see, what happens with the injury report there, if Jimmy plays or if Jimmy does not play. But the Mavericks have always given us trouble over the past years. We beat them the first time this season, but it's going to be a tough game, especially because you're going up against a guy that can not only get his own shot but make his teammates better. And if their shooters start to get going, it can be scary. So yeah, so that's going to be a really good game to watch, to see where we're at, because the Mavericks are a playoff team in the West, 5th seed right now. But apart from that game, we are the number 1 seed. We're on a 5-game winning streak. We've done really well this season, with 1 All-Star in the game. Eric Spoelstra has been, in my opinion, the coach of the year. But come playoff time, we all know that whatever happens in the regular season, you can scrap all that. Teams in the Eastern Conference around us have made moves to strengthen. The Nets have gotten Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and Drummond. Seth Curry and Drummond looked really good in last night's win against the Kings, which is why I said that they won the trade, because Seth Curry is a very underrated asset for the Nets that they can use. And I honestly think that the Nets are a better constructed team with KD, Kyrie, and Curry, Drummond, and Simmons when you put them in, then with Harden, and then you have, I don't know who else, Blake Griffin or something like that. So they have strengthened. The 76ers have strengthened, even though I don't think they won the trade as much as the Nets did. They still are winners because Ben Simmons has not played the whole season and they got James Harden out of it. So we'll see how that works. James Harden is out until the All-Star break ends, so we're not going to see him in a Sixers uniform to see how the fit works until then. The Milwaukee Bucks are strong, front runners to sign Goran Dragic in the buyout market, because the Heat have not really made an attempt to really sign him. They just converted Caleb Martin's contract to a regular deal. So the most that Goran Dragic is going to be on the Heat is a 2-way player. I don't think that's going to happen. So the Bucks are one of the front runners to sign him, and they made a trade to get Serge Ibaka in the trade deadline. The Boston Celtics getting Daniel Tice, Derek White. They have strengthened. The Cleveland Cavaliers obviously getting Karis LeVert. They have strengthened. So there's a lot of teams that have strengthened around us in the Eastern Conference. So this is not going to be an easy playoff push whatsoever, because we've all seen that in the past years, the team that has been the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference has not really won the title. And if they have won the title, it's not been convincingly. The Raptors won the title in 2019, and they were the 2 seed. In 2020, the Lakers won, but the Heat made it to the finals as the 5 seed, and then the Bucks last year were the 3 seed. So yeah, man, I really don't think that being the 1 seed guarantees you anything. If you look at those Cavs teams led by LeBron, how many times were they the 1 seed? They were the 2 seed twice when they made the finals. I think the only time when they were the 1 seed was in 2015, 2016, and maybe they weren't in 2014, 2015, because the Hawks were the 1 seed. So in the past 6, 7, 8 years, the only team that has been the 1 seed that has went on to represent the East in the finals has been the Cavaliers when they won it all, defeating the 7-3-9 Warriors. So being the 1 seed does not guarantee you, an easy path to the finals by any means. You're still going to have to fight a lot of battles in the playoffs. We all know playoff basketball is different from regular season basketball. I still believe that this team is good enough to be in the finals this year and maybe even win it all this year, because I think we have a lot of pieces. We have guys that are coming back from injury who have not played much this season at all. So we're going to be talking about how the playoff rotation will shape up for the Miami Heat, because there are going to be guys that have been playing really well this season in the absence of some of our star players that have stepped up, and they're not going to be getting a lot of minutes, or if any minutes at all, in the playoffs, because this team is so deep, and as we all know, in the playoffs the rotation gets shorter, and we're probably not going to play too many guys in crunch time games and in big series. So we're gonna have to sit here and discuss as Heat fans, as members of this community, who is the guy that we think should be left out, or who is the guy that we think should be in the rotation out of some of the guys I'm going to be naming. So we all know the starting lineup will play. We all know Kyle Lowry, Robinson, Butler, Tucker, Bam, they're going to be playing. Off the bench, Hero will play, Dwayne Dedmon will play. When Oladipo comes back, which he's expected to come back sometime this month, he will play. That's 8 guys right there. Usually in the playoffs you play about 9-man rotation, 10 at most. But 10 is I don't think there's been a lot of teams that have won the championship playing 10-man rotations in the finals. I think it's been shortened to about 9. And we already have 8 players that I just named who I'm convinced are going to get minutes. The 9th player I think will be Markieff Morris. I know there have been reports coming out saying that the Heat have been very concerned about his injury, thinking that it might be a season-ending one, potentially. But he has come out since then and said that he's going to be playing the season. We've seen, not footage, but we've seen images of him working out with Stanley Remy, who's a trainer, on his Instagram. I saw him. He was going up for a dunk. He was going up for a contested mid-range. So I think he'll play. I think he'll play the season, especially because they haven't formally announced, the Miami Heat, that he's going to be out for the entire season. But I think it's been return to conditioning has been the description of the injury in these past couple of games. Before it was whiplash. So I think he will be playing this season sometime. Maybe it's the first time he'll play. Again, the season will be in the playoffs, but I think we'll see him sometime this season in a Heat uniform. So I'm assuming that he will be the 9th guy. So if there was a 10th guy, I still have not named 4 guys this season who have been playing exceptionally well in the absence of a lot of our stars. Caleb Martin, whose deal just got converted to a standard contract. Congrats to him. He deserves it. He's been balling this year. He's now playoff eligible. I did not name him. He's been balling this year, as I said. Gabe Vincent has been playing really, really well in the absence of guys like Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero. He's been really good as a ball handler, playmaker, defender, and even at times we've seen him get hot from the three-point line. He's had big scoring nights at the game against the Sixers, where he had 26, and then he followed it up against the Magic when he had 27. So I've not named him. Max Strus, I know over the last couple of games his shot has not been falling as much, but in the first part of the season, this is a guy that there was a debate between Heat fans saying should he be in the starting lineup. So I've not named him. I've not named Omer Yurtseven, who Heat fans absolutely love, and I can understand why, man. He was balling, double machine, and he was holding his own defensively in the post, in the pick and roll. It was a little bit of a struggle for him, but he was playing exceptionally well in the absence of Bam with that the thumb surgery that he had. So I've not named either of those 4 players, and I think there's only one more potential spot, if any, for time in the playoffs. So out of these 4 in the comments section, who do you guys think should be the guy to potentially get playoff minutes? And if I had to pick between these 4, I'm giving it to Caleb Martin, and let me tell you why. So Caleb Martin, the thing that I like about him more than any of these other 4 guys is his defensive ability. I know Gabe Vincent is a really good defender for his size at his position, but I do believe firmly that Caleb Martin can guard 1 through 3, and maybe even 1 through 4. And I think that he has the wingspan to guard 4s. The only reason why I'm hesitantly saying 1 through 4 is because I don't know if he has the strength to guard power forwards, but he can definitely lock on and guard a 1 through 3 easily. We have put him on Stephen Curry. We put him on Trae Young. We've put him on so many of the premier ball handlers in the NBA, and he's done his thing against them. Offensively, he's a guy who can be a slasher, be a guy who's going to cut to the rim and finish hard at the rim. He can be a guy in transition who is going to make plays. He can be a guy spotting up for 3. His 3-point percentage has improved this year compared to last year. He gives you, a lot of things that a lot of these players that I've named before him do not. And I do think that he's kind of like a Swiss Army knife guy, a plug-and-play guy that, even if he's not scoring the ball defensively, he's bringing it. If he's not bringing it, as far as playmaking, he's going to do something as far as slashing to the rim. I just think he's too good of a piece as far as what you need in playoffs. In the playoffs, you need a guy who's gonna give it his all. We know he's gonna play hard. We know defensively he's gonna bring it. We know that he's a very explosive athlete, and we know that his 3-point percentage has improved this year. And he has been a guy who in the corner he loves that jab step to create space and pull up for 3. So I do think that out of these 4, I would probably give it to Caleb Martin. Strus is interesting because he's the best shooter easily out of all these 4, and I do think that if you need a shooter, if one of our guys like Robinson or someone is going through a slump, you could put Strus in and say, just make some shots for me, space the floor out, help the spacing a little bit if the spacing is not there. Vincent is a guy that you could probably see in a defensive lineup. We might see him if Hero is struggling defensively, or taking care of the ball, or Oladipo is not looking great, because Vincent has been playing really, really well, and it's not a foregone conclusion that if Oladipo comes back and if he's not playing well, that you're gonna still see him over Vincent. Vincent might get minutes over Oladipo if Oladipo doesn't bring it, because we're all expecting Oladipo to come back stronger, but it's not all sunshine and roses, man. Sometimes an injury just derails a guy's career, and I'm hoping that does not happen. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, whatever. I'm absolutely hoping that Oladipo comes back and he just lights things up, but we all know that that's not the case 100% of the time. Yurtseven, it's going to be tough for Yurtseven. I'm not going to lie. Bam and Dedmon have solidified those 2 center spots, and I know if you want to play Bam at the 4, you can play Bam at the 4, but most of the time it's going to be Dedmon at the 5. People want to see Yurtseven and Dedmon. That will not work like how Bam and Dedmon will work, because Yurtseven is not a power forward, Dedmon is not a power forward. Well, they're both centers obviously, but none of them can play power forward is what I mean. Bam is a guy who came into the league as a 4, so he knows and he can adapt to playing power forward. We even saw when Hassan was here, there were some times where Bam and Hassan were getting minutes together. So I don't think it'll work with Yurtseven and Dedmon, especially because one of them is going to have to guard forwards on the perimeter, and I don't think either of them can do that like Bam can. So it's going to be tough for Omer to get minutes. But I think next year, Dwayne Dedmon is a free agent. So if Yurtseven comes with it, which he probably will in the summer league and stuff like that, and if Dwayne Dedmon is doesn't re-sign with the Heat, expect him to be the backup center next year is what I'm saying. If Dwayne Dedmon is not re-signing, because he's only on a 1-year contract. So yeah, it'll be tough for Omer to get minutes in the playoffs, but he did really good in the games he played this year. He was amazing, and I think that he has a good future ahead of him. I know I got a lot of flack on YouTube for saying that I would trade him for PJ Washington. I still stand by that, by the way. PJ Washington is younger than him. He has more potential, in my opinion, as a lottery pick. But I can understand why a lot of Heat fans love Omer. I love Omer too. He's been playing really, really well, and I can see why a lot of you guys do not want to give him up. But my argument was that if a guy who is not in your rotation, and if you have the opportunity to trade for a guy who's going to be in your rotation, you do it. In my opinion, it's a no-brainer. But that was my only argument with that. I still think Omer is going to be a really solid player, but I just don't think he's going to get minutes in the playoffs, and I think it'll be tough for him to get minutes in the playoffs over the 3 guys I just mentioned, Vincent, Strus, and Martin, because these guys are very versatile who can play multiple positions. Omer's position is just a center. So, and we have arguably the top 3, top 4 center of the NBA, and one of the best backup centers in the league as well. So, yeah, let me know in the comment section, who do you think is the guy who's going to be playing minutes, out of the 9 guys I named before, between Omer, Max, Gabe, and Caleb, who's going to get those minutes? I'm going with Caleb because of the reasons I said before, but if you guys think it's going to be someone else, or if you think it should be someone else, let me know down in the comment section below. And that's where we're going to wrap up the video, man. If y'all enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. We'll see y'all later. As always, have a nice day. Peace.